Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, SNDL traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news and interviews. Today is Thursday, July 31st. It's the last day of the month, and I hope you're doing well. We're going to take a look at SNDL's recent Q2 2025 earnings that came out this morning. They absolutely crushed it. Estimates were completely blown out of the water, and they had positive net income and no debt. So love to see that. I think SNDL is going to be just fine long term. Then the stock was up about 27% from the low of yesterday. A lot of people asking my thoughts and opinions, so I wanted to come on, do a video. We'll take a look at the price chart. There is a bullish continuation pattern as well, which could bring us above $2. So we'll take a look at the price action, the technicals. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on that in the days, weeks, months ahead. But as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only, and you should never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or write. And full disclosure, I do own SNDL in my portfolio. You can also like the video, subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future content that I post. And you can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So you can see here, revenue came in, the forecast was 231.55 million Canadian, and they report in Canadian dollars unless otherwise stated. And it came in at 244.8 million. So like I said, absolutely crushed revenue estimates. And we would have had, if we take a look at the report, this was for the period ending June 30th, 2025. So there would have been April 420 sales on there. And then EPS, earnings per share, negative 0.05 was the forecast. And it came in at positive 0.01. So a huge milestone for the company to have positive, net positive operating income. And like I said, stock was up accordingly because of these fantastic numbers and the beat today. But keep in mind that SNDL, it was also one of the more harder hit names, and it didn't really participate in the recovery that we were seeing across the sector. And if you recall, that's because the last time they reported earnings, they said that they were going to be reviewing listings. So if we just go here to listings, you can see that they said initiated a formal strategic review to evaluate SNDL's exposure to U.S. multi-state licensed cannabis enterprises and its current exchange listings, an important step in aligning our platform with future regulatory and market opportunities. So I didn't get a chance to join the conference call, but if they mention anything on the call, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to watch the replay. I wasn't able to join it live, but yeah, I don't think they mentioned anything. I looked at the report. I didn't see any additional. I think it's pretty much just echoing what they said initially. So based on that, a lot of people are thinking, well, what's going to happen to my SNDL shares? If you're in the U.S. and it's listed on a U.S. major exchange, you can't buy it if it's on a Canadian exchange. Not all U.S. brokers have access to that, and not all brokers have access to OTC over the counter. So again, people were a little concerned by that, and they were like, well, what's going to happen to my shares? So the stock was obviously impacted by that, and we actually had a bear flag on the chart that said we were heading to 115, and we hit it to the penny. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But now there's a daily bull flag saying that we could see major upside from here. And like I said, just over the last few weeks, it's up about 60%. But again, it was one of the weakest names in the space for a while, technically speaking. And then finally, it's starting to play catch up. And we've been seeing that where, some U.S. companies will run, the Canadian companies will go, and then there'll be a leader and laggard in each, the Canadian side and the U.S. side. So we'll go through some of the highlights. The company delivered positive operating income, as I mentioned, and it's for the period June 30th, 2025. All financial information, like I said, is in Canadian dollars as well. They did have the conference call at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I wasn't able to join that. Again, if you did join that, please let me know your thoughts and opinions on the call, or if they mentioned anything noteworthy. Always love hearing from you. I really appreciate it. And just let me know your biggest takeaway from the call if you were on it. So as I mentioned, net revenue, 244.8 million. Gross margin for the second quarter was 27.6%. So not a great margin, but you have to keep in mind that SNDL is more than just a producer, right? They're into retail. So they have value buds, they're into retail, they're big into cannabis retail, but they're also big into alcohol retail. So SNDL is a lot more differentiated and a very different business. They're fully integrated as well, right? They're a producer, and gross margin, because of the fact that they have like a discounted model through value buds. I think that's because the reason why gross margin is taking such a hit, and we're not seeing it in that a 40 to 50% range with which some other companies are seeing in the space. And I think that mostly has to do, like I said, with the fact that they're into retail and into that discount segment. So operating income totaling $5 million, and restructuring charge was $0.8 million, resulting in adjusted operating income of $5.8 million. So cash flow was negative by $12.6 million during the second quarter, and free cash flow in the second quarter was negative $7.9 million. If we scroll down here, there was one part that I wanted to read. I shared it with the Powder private community, so they talk about their stores right here. So unlike many of its peers, SNDL's strong balance sheet provides a strategic advantage as we continue to build a resilient and growth-oriented business with no debt, huge, and $208.2 million in unrestricted cash as of June 30th, 2025. We are well positioned to pursue a range of high return organic and inorganic growth opportunities. In addition, the SNDL team is now proudly serving patients in the UK and the EU through the export of both branded finished goods and wholesale flour, and awaits the resolution of litigation in the United States in order to complete Sunstream restructurings that will provide shareholders with exposure to dynamic medical markets, including Florida and Texas. Those are going to be huge. And, we could even see some broader reform at the recreational level, at the state level, recreational level in Florida and Texas. Things are heating up in a big way there. Pennsylvania looks poised to become the 25th state to legalize it recreationally, but these two states shouldn't be far off, and Florida is going to be the biggest state, in my opinion, in terms of total market. But Texas has to be right up there. Texas is absolutely massive. So the fact that they have the case, this litigation going on, we might not see like a result of the an outcome, I guess. We might not find out until after that is done and adjudicated. Once that's done and it's behind them, right, then they have clarity, then I think we'll get an update on the US listing, and they'll kind of let everybody know. What will more than likely happen is if they do delist from the NASDAQ so they can operate in the US, they would probably just transfer to the OTC and then continue to operate on the Toronto Stock Exchange. We are encouraged by the momentum we've built and energized by the progress we are making. Our team remains highly focused and motivated to navigate the challenges of a dynamic industry in pursuit of wealth, in pursuit of our ambition to become a global cannabis leader, concluded Zach George, CEO. So overall, I think I hit on most of the main points here. You can see 25.7% gross margin. Oh, excise taxes as well. So they only paid $12.8 million in excise taxes. You can see their gross revenue was $257 million, and they only paid $12.8 million for a net $244. So a lot of producers, and keep in mind that SNDL is not just a producer. That's why they're not paying such high excise tax. But most producers that are just 100% cannabis producers in Canada, they're paying about a third of their revenue is going to excise tax. That's insane. This is nowhere near a third of their revenue. So it goes to show you how differentiated this business is because it's into retail, both in cannabis and alcohol, which you're not hit with those excise taxes. And then you got like names like High Tide and retailers. They don't pay any excise taxes because they don't produce anything. So we'll take a look at the chart here. We are up, like I said, about 60% in the last month off of the low, and I want to share with you the target here. So if you recall in my previous videos, I was pretty bearish on the chart. We had a weekly bear flag, and that target was 125. You can see here that was a very busy and point of interest on the chart. We hit that, and we bounced around for a while, but then we had a daily bear flag, and that target was 115. And then look what we hit here a couple of weeks ago. On the week of June 30th, we literally hit 115 to the penny. And a lot of people say like, well, why are you telling me about bear flags? I'm a bull, perma-bull. I only want to know when it's going up, right? I only want to buy. I don't short, right? Whatever you think about shorting, you can use bear flags to your advantages for buying as well. Because if you know that there's a bear flag target here of 125 and then another one formed at 115, well, you could have entered a little bit at 125, a little bit at 120, a little bit at 115, get your cost basis down as low as possible, maybe 120, 118, and then you could have entered and you could have saw a upside of about 54%, and then you could have set your stop just below that level there at 115. Or if you're really looking for a long-term entry, you could have entered off playing off $1 support. and held it for a very long time. And we're also very close to seeing a weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here as well. But on the daily time frame, this is the daily bull flag. So we have our low, our high, or low. You can see we held the 0.32 fib there perfectly, and then we confirmed the daily bull flag. We actually confirmed it back on Friday, July 18th, but it was we were confirming it, and then we closed near the low of the day, so that's a bit of a red flag. And then we had a double top, triple top actually, and then into daily consolidation, and then we got the follow through. And I think, you know, it was probably a good thing that we saw this pullback leading into earnings crushing, because if we would have, you know, been up here when earnings crushed, it might have ended up being a when they crushed it, it might have ended up being a sell the news. So this ended up being buy the news, and we consolidated into those earnings, which means that the move is a lot more exaggerated. So you just take your measured move there from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and that's your measured move. So we're targeting 208. We hit a high of the day today of 184. So this is why we like charts, right? This is why we want to know what the charts are saying as well, not just from a fundamental perspective. Yes, it's great. They had positive net income. They crushed earnings, revenue, EPS, no debt. Love it. But, you know, you can take that a step further and look at the chart and say, hey, as long as we hold that low there at 143, this is still a daily bull flag. And then once we saw a break of that 167 resistance, that confirmed the follow through. And like I said, in terms of percentage from the high of the day today, we're just under 13% away from that daily bull flag target. And it sounds like a plane or something is flying over my home. Hopefully that's not too distracting. We also had a bullish triple thunder crossover. The price crossed above the 10-week moving average, and the stochastic and the MACD crossed bullish as well. So that is a POW algo alert that I created, and you can see here it's very, very accurate. Look what happened the last time we had a bullish triple thunder crossover. Right here was the signal. Price closed at around 175, and then we saw a move up to 293. Then we had the bearish triple thunder crossover when the price lost the 10-week moving average, and then saw the bear cross of the stochastic and the MACD on the weekly. Price went from about $1.95 down to $1.15. Now we're seeing the bullish flip side of that, and we should easily continue higher from here, in my opinion. We are bumping our head right at the 100-day moving average, and the 200 there, sorry, the weekly moving average. The 200 weekly is there at 257. So if we can get over, like I said, that $2 mark, psychological, then I think we'll be off to the races. There's some runway there till about 257. And then on the daily time frame, we're back above all of our daily moving averages here as well. So this is a great sign. It's still going to be a while before we see a golden cross. I would say it's at least 3 weeks by the looks of it, maybe 2, best case scenario. But yeah, we'll see what happens here over the next little while with regards to rescheduling. Again, I'm not expecting anything imminently. I think it's going to be sometime in the fall, because we know that crypto continues to dominate the headlines, right? It's every second word out of these politicians' mouth in the new administration in the US, it's either crypto, blockchain, or AI. So once that's done, once we have crypto legislation, we already got the Genius Act, they're working on the Clarity Act, market structure, anti-CBDC, and then we're going to see them pivot over to cannabis policy, in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see, too, the timing, because if we get some sort of uplisting for these US MSOs, right, if we get a safe harbor and, you know, late, maybe toward the end of the year or early 2026, they're able to uplist these US companies, well, then we might not even have to worry about anything or review any of the exchange listings for SNDL. So it's going to be an interesting kind of development to see how it all plays out. But let me know your thoughts and opinions. What do you think is going to happen? And are you worried? If you need any kind of, recommendations, I would just reach out to your broker and just ask them if they were to delist, do they have access to the Toronto Stock Exchange or OTC? Always good to double check that stuff. All right, going to end it there. It's Rod with POW Group. Let me know what you think of this earnings report in the comment section. We'll continue the comments. We'll continue the conversation in the comment section. And if you did join the conference call, please let me know your biggest takeaway and your thoughts and opinions. All right, have a good one. We'll catch you on the next one.